Captain Ethan Cole had never expected a mission to feel so strange. As a human scientist, he was used to exploring unknown environments, studying plants, animals, and alien atmospheres, but nothing prepared him for Zephora. The planet glowed under twin suns, casting soft pink and violet light over forests that shimmered like liquid crystal. Rivers ran with silvery water that reflected the alien sky, and enormous, luminous flowers swayed even when there was no wind. Ethan's shuttle landed on a smooth, glass-like platform outside a towering palace carved from a single crystal. He adjusted his glasses and stepped out, his boots making a soft crunch on the translucent surface. The air smelled faintly sweet like berries mixed with ozone. It was beautiful, almost dreamlike, but he had a job to do. He was greeted by Princess Liara, the royal heir of Zephora. She was tall and elegant with deep blue skin that shimmered in the sunlight and eyes that sparkled like polished gems. Her hair was long, flowing and silver, moving slightly as if alive. She bowed politely, though Ethan noticed a small flash of surprise in her gaze. "Welcome, Earth visitor," she said in a musical voice. "I am Princess Liara of Zephora. Your arrival is unexpected, but we are pleased." Ethan gave a small smile and bowed slightly. "Thank you, Princess. I am honored to be here. I am Captain Ethan Cole, sent by Earth to study Zephora's environment and culture." Liara nodded, her expression polite but curious. Yes. Your words are understood. But customs must be observed." Before Ethan could ask what she meant, two elder Zephorians approached, robes glinting in the sunlight. They spoke in rapid lyrical language, and Liara translated. "According to our traditions," she said with a nervous smile, "any guest arriving under the twin sun alignment is considered bonded by ritual to the host's family. In your case, bonded to me." Ethan blinked. "Bonded? I don't understand. I'm just a scientist. I came to learn about your planet, not..." Liara waved a hand. "Do not worry. The ritual is symbolic, but it is also serious. It is our way to honor visitors. You are now considered my intended according to Zephorian law." Ethan's jaw dropped. "Your intended?" "Yes," Liara said, a faint blush on her cheeks. "It is an honor, but I do not ask for your feelings yet. It is simply custom." Before Ethan could find words to respond, another figure stepped forward. It was Princess Mira, Liara's younger sister. Her skin was a lighter blue, her eyes a bright green, and her energy seemed almost electric. She crossed her arms and glared at Ethan. "You cannot just accept my sister's proposal alone," Mira said firmly. "If the bond is to be shared with one, it must be shared with both of us. Zephorian law is clear." Ethan's head spun. "Wait, shared? Both of you?" "Yes." Mira's voice rose slightly. "It is the only way the bond can be true. You must take both of us. That is tradition." Ethan tried to take a deep breath. I don't even know what this means. I came here to study plants and animals, not marriage." Liara looked embarrassed and flustered. "Please, Ethan, understand. On Zephora, bonding is not just about personal choice. It is about honor, respect, and alliance. We did not mean to surprise you. This is simply the way things are." Mira leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "And you will respect it, human. Or else what?" Ethan asked carefully, trying to remain calm. Mira blinked and straightened. "Or else you will have a difficult time on Zephora. You will be welcomed, but only if you follow tradition." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, staring at the two sisters. He had read about alien cultures being strict and unusual, but this was unlike anything in his research. I want to respect your culture," he said slowly. "But I need to understand it first. Can you explain more?" Liara nodded and gestured toward the palace. "Come inside. You will learn our customs. There are trials, tests, and rituals that must be completed. Only then can the bond be honored properly." Ethan followed, careful not to step on the glowing flowers along the path. The palace interior was even more incredible than the outside. Walls were made of crystal that shifted color like water. Floating platforms connected rooms, and strange devices hummed softly in corners. Alien servants moved gracefully, carrying trays of glowing fruits and liquids that changed color as they touched the air. Liara led him to a central chamber. "This is the Hall of Rituals," she said. "Here you will begin your first lessons. You will learn to navigate our traditions, demonstrate respect, and show your worthiness. All must be done with patience and care." Ethan took a deep breath. "I will do my best." Mira appeared behind him, smirking slightly. "We will see, human." "Words are easy. Actions are what matter. Over the next few hours, Ethan experienced Xiphoria's unusual customs firsthand. He learned that the bonding ceremony involved acts of skill, intelligence, and empathy rather than force or combat. He was tasked with deciphering alien symbols, solving environmental puzzles, and helping small alien communities reconcile disputes. At first, Ethan struggled. The language was complex and the puzzles were unlike anything he had encountered, but he gradually began to adapt. Using logic, observation, and his Earth knowledge, he solved problems the Xiphorians had considered challenging. Liara watched with quiet admiration. "You are clever," she said softly. "Most outsiders would fail immediately. You try, you think, you adapt." Mira, however, was not so easily impressed. "Do not let her praise fool you," she said, arms crossed. "The real test comes at night," Ethan frowned. "Night? What happens then?" "The forest," Mira said, her eyes glinting. "Ziphora's glowing forests are beautiful, yes, but they are also dangerous. You will face a trial there. Only those who act with courage and wisdom can survive." Ethan swallowed hard. "Dangerous how?" Liara placed a hand on his shoulder. "There are creatures in the forest, human. Some harmless, some less so. But do not fear. You will not face them alone. You must demonstrate your ability to protect and assist." Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had dealt with dangerous fieldwork on Earth, but this was on an entirely different level. He reminded himself, he was here not just for adventure, but to represent humanity. As night fell, the three of them, Liara, Mira, and Ethan, entered the glowing forest. The plants shimmered like living lanterns, illuminating their path with soft hues of violet and silver. Strange sounds echoed, and shadows danced across the crystalline trees. Suddenly, a massive creature emerged from the undergrowth. It was like a cross between a panther and a chameleon, its skin changing colors to blend with the surroundings. It growled, low and menacing, eyes locked on Mira. Without thinking, Ethan leaped forward, using his field training to distract the creature and guide Mira to safety. Liara's eyes widened in surprise. Mira, though initially shocked, blinked rapidly and then smiled faintly. "You saved me," she said. "Impressive, human." Ethan shook his head, breathing heavily. "I just reacted. I didn't want anyone to get hurt." Liara smiled softly. "That is the kind of courage Ziphora values. Intelligence alone is not enough. Heart matters too." Mira crossed her arms again but did not argue. "Perhaps you have some value after all," she said, though her voice carried a hint of respect. The three walked back to the palace in silence, each lost in thought. Ethan realized that his mission had become far more complicated than he ever imagined. He was no longer just a scientist observing a foreign culture. He had become a part of it, whether he liked it or not. As he settled in for the night, Ethan looked out at Ziphora's twin moons rising over the glowing forests. He could feel the weight of the upcoming trials, the expectations of the royal sisters, and the responsibility to represent humanity in a world far stranger than anything he had studied. He whispered quietly to himself, "Humans can adapt. Humans can survive. Humans can find a way." And with that, the adventure truly began. The morning light spilled across Ziphora's crystal palace, casting patterns of shimmering colors onto the polished floors. Ethan woke with a mix of excitement and nervousness. He knew that today the real challenges would begin. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of Ziphora's traditions, and the sisters expected him to prove himself. Liara entered his quarters first, her silver hair glowing softly in the morning light. She smiled gently. "Today you will begin the first trial. It is not about strength, human. It is about understanding, intelligence, patience, and empathy. These are qualities our people value." Ethan nodded, adjusting his equipment belt. "I understand. I'll do my best." Mira appeared behind Liara, leaning against the doorframe with a playful smirk. "Your best will be tested in ways you cannot yet imagine. You may think you understand Ziphora, but the forest will show you otherwise." Ethan smiled faintly, though his stomach twisted. "I hope I can learn quickly." The three of them walked through the palace corridors to the Hall of Trials, a grand chamber filled with crystalline structures, floating platforms, and glowing symbols carved into the walls. The air shimmered slightly, and Ethan felt a strange tingling sensation. Ziphora's energy seemed to respond to his presence. Liara gestured toward a large circular platform in the center. Your first trial is the puzzle of paths. You must find a way through the shifting maze using logic and observation. The paths will change, but patterns exist if you pay attention. Ethan studied the maze carefully. The walls were made of transparent crystal that reflected and refracted light, creating multiple illusions. One wrong step could lead him in circles, and time was measured by the gentle pulse of the chamber's light. Mira, standing at the edge, crossed her arms. Try not to get lost, human. Many fail because they do not see the patterns. Ethan stepped onto the platform. He moved cautiously, observing how the light bent and shifted. Slowly, he began to recognize repeated reflections, slight differences in color, and tiny cracks in the crystal that hinted at the correct path. He took careful steps, adjusting his strategy whenever a dead end appeared. After what felt like hours, but was likely only minutes, Ethan reached the center. A soft chime echoed through the chamber. Liara smiled warmly. Well done, Ethan, you see the patterns. You are learning to understand Zyphoria's ways. Mira raised an eyebrow but did not comment immediately. Instead, she led him to the next trial. Now you will face the test of empathy. You must help the citizens of Zyphora with a conflict. Observe, listen, and offer solutions that satisfy all parties. Ethan followed her to a room filled with small alien communities, each arguing over territory, resources, or traditions. The disputes were complex and the language was fast and melodic. Liara translated, explaining the context of each argument. Ethan knelt and observed quietly. He noticed patterns in behavior, subtle gestures, and expressions that gave him clues about what each alien truly wanted. He began speaking gently, suggesting compromises, encouraging communication, and showing understanding for each perspective. Slowly, the argument softened. The aliens listened, nodded, and eventually agreed on a solution that balanced their needs. Liara's eyes sparkled with admiration. You are patient, Ethan. You do not force your ideas. You listen, and that is what matters most here. Mira finally spoke, her tone grudgingly approving. You may be clever, human. Perhaps the first trial was not enough to break you. Ethan smiled, but he knew the hardest trial had yet to come. Liara and Mira led him outside to the glowing forest where the alien flora pulsed with light and strange sounds echoed through the air. Ethan felt a thrill of excitement and fear. He knew this trial would test not only his mind but his courage. The sisters explained the rules. You must navigate the forest, find the heart bloom, and return safely, Liara said. The heart bloom is a rare flower that only opens under moonlight. It is heavily protected by creatures and natural traps. Mira grinned. If you fail, the trial is not just lost. You will learn the consequences of rash actions. Remember, human, think, act, and observe. Ethan nodded and stepped into the forest. The ground was soft and glowing, illuminating the path with a gentle violet light. Strange, luminous plants swayed as if aware of his presence. Birds, or creatures that looked like birds, glided silently above, their eyes glowing softly. Suddenly, a large creature appeared. Its body was long and sinuous, covered in scales that reflected the forest light. It hissed, eyes glowing a fiery red. Ethan froze. He remembered his field training on Earth, where staying calm was the key to survival. Slowly, he reached for a tool in his belt, something to distract the creature without harming it. Using his knowledge of animal behavior, Ethan mimicked sounds he had observed in other alien species, combined with careful movements. The creature paused, curious rather than aggressive. Ethan slowly backed away, leading it toward a denser part of the forest where it disappeared into the shadows. Mira, who had been following silently, tilted her head. Not bad. Quick thinking and patience. You may survive yet. Ethan pressed on deeper into the forest. He discovered a series of glowing vines blocking his path. They pulsed with energy, and touching them caused small sparks, but he noticed patterns in their movement. By timing his steps carefully and observing their rhythm, he managed to pass through without harm. Finally, under the twin moons of Zyphora, he saw it, the heart bloom, a massive flower with petals that shimmered like liquid silver. Its glow bathed the forest in soft light. Ethan approached slowly, careful not to disturb the delicate ecosystem. He gently plucked the bloom, knowing it symbolized success in the trial. As he turned to return, he noticed Mira trapped under a fallen branch, a small predator nearby. Without hesitation, Ethan sprinted forward, lifting the branch and using his tools to keep the creature at bay. Liara and Mira arrived moments later. Liara's eyes were filled with relief, while Mira's expression softened into something almost like admiration. "You saved me," Mira said quietly. "I did not expect that." Ethan shrugged, brushing dirt from his sleeve. "I couldn't let anyone get hurt." "That's all?" Liara smiled warmly. "Your actions prove more than intelligence. They prove heart, courage, and understanding. These are qualities we value above all else." Mira remained silent for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Perhaps humans are not so weak after all. Perhaps there is value in your ways." The three returned to the palace carrying the heart bloom. The elders greeted them, their expressions a mixture of astonishment and approval. Ethan had passed not just one but multiple trials, earning the respect of Zephoria's people. That night, as Ethan prepared for rest, he reflected on the day. The trials had been difficult, demanding both intellect and courage, but he had survived. More importantly, he had begun to understand the complexity of Zephoria's culture, the importance of its traditions and the ways humans could adapt and thrive, even as outsiders. Liara peeked into his quarters one last time. "You have done well, Ethan. But remember, tomorrow brings new challenges. The trials are far from over." Ethan smiled faintly. "I am ready. Whatever comes next, I will face it." Mira appeared as well, standing silently in the doorway. After a long pause, she said, "Do not think the trials are only about skill, human. They are about character. Let tomorrow test who you truly are." Ethan nodded, understanding that his journey had only begun. On Zephora, the line between tradition and personal choice was thin, and navigating it would require all of his courage, intelligence, and human ingenuity. As he lay down to rest, he whispered quietly, "Humans can adapt. Humans can survive. Humans can find a way. Even here." The twin moons rose over the glowing forest once more, and Ethan knew that tomorrow, his real test would begin, not just of skill, but of character, heart, and the ability to inspire respect in a world far beyond Earth. The days following Ethan's first trials passed in a blur of lessons, exercises, and observation. He had begun to feel more confident navigating Zephoria's customs, and even Princess Mira, once cold and critical, seemed to respect him more. Yet despite these successes, an uneasy feeling hung in the air. Liara called a meeting in the royal council chamber, a vast hall of polished crystal that reflected the light of the twin suns. Ethan walked beside the princesses, taking in the sight of Zephoria's elders gathered around a circular table. Their expressions were serious, more solemn than he had ever seen before. "We have received troubling news," Liara began. Her voice, though calm, carried the weight of concern. "A fleet from the neighboring planet Vorath has entered our sector. They seek to claim Zephora's resources for themselves. Their intentions are not peaceful." Ethan frowned. "How large is this fleet?" "Large enough to threaten our planet if we are unprepared," Liara answered. "Vorath has long envied Zephora's rare crystals, abundant water, and unique flora. We must find a way to defend ourselves." Mira stepped forward, her eyes flashing green with determination. "We cannot rely solely on our forces. Vorath's technology is advanced, but their tactics are predictable. If we combine our strengths with the humans' ingenuity..." She glanced at Ethan. "We may have a chance." Ethan's heart raced. This was no longer a simple diplomatic or cultural mission. Survival, the lives of Zephoria's people, and the reputation of humans across the galaxy now rested partially on his shoulders. "I'll do my best," he said quietly. Liara nodded. "Your understanding of Earth technology and problem-solving skills will be essential. But we must also work with Zephoria's natural advantages. Our forests, rivers, and crystal formations can be used strategically." The next days were filled with planning. Ethan, Liara, and Mira studied maps, scouted the terrain, and designed strategies that combined human ingenuity with Zephoria's unique ecosystem. Ethan suggested using energy-absorbing crystals as defensive barriers, while the princesses guided how to manipulate the glowing forests to create natural traps. One evening, while examining a map under soft lamplight, Mira asked, "You really think humans can make a difference in battle?" Ethan looked at her seriously. "Humans survive because we adapt. We don't always have the strongest weapons, but we find ways to use what we have. You have unique strengths here on Zephora, and together we can be unpredictable. That's how we can succeed." Liara placed a hand on Mira's shoulder. "Ethan speaks the truth. Courage and ingenuity are as important as force. We must trust each other." Their cooperation began to strengthen the bond between them. Liara admired Ethan's calm intelligence, while Mira's respect grew with every practical solution he offered. For the first time, both sisters saw him not just as a visitor, but as a partner in their defense. The day of the confrontation arrived. Vorath's fleet appeared in Zyphora's skies, massive ships blocking the sun and casting long shadows over the forests. Citizens panicked and alarms echoed throughout the crystal cities. Liara and Mira quickly organized defensive positions. Soldiers manned energy barriers, scouts monitored the enemy, and Ethan positioned his devices to control environmental traps. He took a deep breath. This was no longer a simulation. This was real. As the Vorath fleet descended, Ethan activated his first strategy. Using Zyphoria's natural crystals, he created reflective energy barriers that confused enemy sensors. Ships tried to land, but the reflections made it impossible for them to see their targets clearly. Liara directed troops along the forest edge, while Mira led units to guard the rivers.
"Follow the human's plan," Mira shouted.
"He sees things differently, trust him." Ethan guided the placement of energy nets and crystal traps. When a Vorath landing craft attempted to break through a forested pass, it was slowed by vines electrified using Zyphoria's natural energy, a combination of human engineering and alien biology. From above, Vorath commanders were baffled. Their advanced technology was neutralized by strategies they had not anticipated. Ethan's adaptive thinking, combined with the sisters' leadership,
gave Zyphoria a distinct advantage. During the battle,
Ethan spotted a group of Vorath soldiers trying to flank the main city using aerial drones. Thinking quickly, he repurposed some reflective crystals to redirect sunlight directly into the drone sensors. The drones became disoriented, crashing harmlessly into the forests. Liara and Mira exchanged impressed glances. "Your ideas, they work," Liara said, her voice steady even in the chaos. Mira nodded, her usual competitiveness replaced by focus. "You may actually save Zyphora, human. Keep thinking." Despite their successes, the battle was not without challenges. A Vorath ship managed to breach the outer barrier, and a group of soldiers made it to the palace perimeter. Ethan ran to the sisters' side, analyzing the situation. Using a small device from his kit, he created a temporary energy field, preventing the intruders from advancing. "You think of everything," Liara whispered. Ethan shook his head, concentrating. "I just act fast. That's what humans do. We use what we have and adapt." The citizens of Zyphora watched from safe distances, inspired by the humans' bravery and the princess's leadership. The combination of human ingenuity and Zyphoria's natural strength turned the tide of the battle. Even Vorath soldiers began to hesitate, confused by tactics they could not predict. As night fell over the planet, Ethan, Liara, and Mira led a final push to force the remaining invaders to retreat. By activating a series of traps and guiding the army strategically, they cornered the Vorath fleet into a narrow canyon. Unable to advance, the enemy had no choice but to withdraw, leaving Zyphora victorious. The aftermath was filled with relief, celebration, and reflection. Citizens cheered and the elders praised the sisters and their human ally. Ethan felt a mixture of pride and exhaustion. He had not only survived alien trials, but he had helped defend an entire planet. Liara approached him, smiling softly. "You have done more than we expected, Ethan. You have shown courage, intelligence, and heart. Zyphoria owes you a great debt." Mira stepped beside her sister, her expression thoughtful. "You have proven yourself human. Perhaps we underestimated what humans can do. Today you have earned respect, not just from us, but from all of Zyphora." Ethan looked at the sisters, feeling a deep sense of connection. "I didn't do it alone. You led your people, shared your knowledge, and trusted me. That made everything possible." Liara nodded. "Trust is the most valuable gift on Zyphora, and you have earned it." That night, as the celebrations continued across the city, Ethan reflected on everything that had happened. The battles had been intense, the challenges extreme, and the stakes higher than anything he had ever faced. Yet through it all, he had discovered something important. Humans were not powerless in the galaxy. Intelligence, adaptability, and courage could make a difference even against the most advanced enemies. Mira approached him quietly, carrying a small, glowing flower from the battlefield. "This is for you," she said. "A reminder that today you were not just a visitor. You were part of our world. Ethan accepted it, feeling the soft glow in his hands. Thank you, Mira. I will never forget this day. Liara joined them, placing a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder. Tomorrow there will be more to learn, more to face. But today you have shown that humans can inspire hope, courage, and unity. That is a gift not all beings possess. As Ethan looked out at Zyphora's glowing forests and crystal cities, he realized that his journey had changed. He was no longer an outsider. He was a part of this world, respected by its leaders, trusted by its citizens, and seen as a symbol of humanity's potential. And though the future was uncertain, he felt ready. Humans could adapt, humans could survive, and humans could make a difference even on planets far beyond their own. With the twin moons rising over the horizon, Ethan knew the galaxy was vast and full of challenges. But he also knew that as long as humans used their minds, hearts, and courage, they could face anything, even the most unexpected threats. The dawn over Zyphora brought a quiet tension. The battle with the Vorath fleet had ended, but intelligence reports indicated that some enemy units were regrouping for a counterattack. Ethan, Liara, and Mira convened in the Crystal Council chamber to prepare for what might come next. We cannot underestimate them, Liara said, her voice calm but firm. Vorath may return with new strategies. We must anticipate their moves. Mira leaned against a crystal pillar, arms crossed. And we will. But humans, I trust you have ideas. Ethan nodded. I do. The key is to use what Vorath expects against them. They rely on technology and direct attacks. But Zyphora has unique advantages, its forests, rivers, and crystal formations. If we combine your knowledge with human tactics, we can create a defense they won't anticipate. Liara's eyes sparkled with interest. Explain. Ethan outlined his plan. Create false paths in the forests using reflective crystal walls, confuse enemy sensors with Zyphoria's natural light patterns, and use environmental traps combined with human-devised energy nets. Soldiers and citizens alike would work together to strengthen defenses, turning Zyphora into a living labyrinth the enemy could not navigate easily. Mira tilted her head. So you want to fight smart, not hard, clever? Yes, Ethan said. We must outthink them, not just outfight them. The sisters spent the day coordinating forces and preparing Zyphora's citizens. Villagers who had once been wary of humans now followed Ethan's instructions, amazed at how well his strategies combined with their planet's natural features. As the twin suns dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the forest, the enemy returned. Vorath ships descended silently at first, their dark hulls reflecting the glowing light of Zyphora. Citizens looked to the princesses and Ethan for guidance, hope mingling with fear. Ethan activated the first stage of his plan. Crystal barriers shifted positions, reflecting and scattering the enemy sensors. Ships attempted to land only to find themselves misled by the illusions. Trees that glowed in patterns guided the enemies into traps where vines pulsed with energy, holding them in place. Liara led squads through the forest paths, directing them to critical points where Ethan's traps would be most effective. Mira positioned units along river passages, ensuring no ship or troop could advance unseen. The three of them moved like a coordinated team, each decision complementing the other. A Vorath squad managed to reach a clearing near the palace. Ethan quickly assessed the situation. Using a portable energy device, he created a field that immobilized the enemy's ground units without harming them. Liara instructed palace guards to secure the area, while Mira reinforced perimeter defenses. From above, Vorath ships attempted to flank the city using aerial drones. Ethan focused, manipulating the crystal's reflections to create dazzling light patterns. The drones, disoriented and unable to read the environment, crashed harmlessly into trees. Liara and Mira exchanged impressed glances. Your strategies work, Liara whispered, her voice filled with pride. Mira nodded, biting her lip to hide a smile. You may actually save Zyphora, human. Keep thinking. The battle raged through the night, but Ethan remained calm. Unlike Vorath, he did not rely on raw power. He observed, adapted, and made quick decisions, using Zyphora's strengths to their fullest. At one point, a group of enemy soldiers attempted to infiltrate the city's energy core, a vital structure that powered the palace and surrounding areas. Ethan assessed the scenario and realized direct confrontation could be dangerous. Instead, he devised a clever distraction. Using reflective crystals and natural light, he projected multiple images of himself in different locations, confusing the enemy. While they were distracted, Liara and Mira led squads to secure the energy core. The Vorath soldiers were captured without major confrontation, and the city's power remained intact. As the twin moons rose over the horizon, casting soft silver light across Zephora, Ethan noticed a Vorath commander attempting a desperate retreat. Using his knowledge of terrain, he predicted the path and set up a trap using glowing vines and energy nets. The commander's ship became entangled and immobilized, leaving the remaining forces with no choice but to withdraw. The battle was over. Zephora had survived not just because of strength but because of courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Citizens cheered, running through the streets to celebrate. The elders praised the princesses, and more importantly, they praised Ethan, the human who had changed the tide of battle with his ingenuity. Liara approached him, her silver hair glowing softly in moonlight. "You have done more than we could have imagined, Ethan. You have not only fought but led, inspired, and protected. Zephora owes you a great debt." Mira stepped beside her sister, her expression softening. "I underestimated humans. Today you have shown that we can trust not just your ideas but your courage. You are part of Zephora now, human." Ethan looked at them, feeling a sense of accomplishment he had never known. "I didn't do it alone. You led your people, shared your knowledge, and trusted me." "That made all the difference," Liara nodded. "Trust is the foundation of everything here, and you have earned it." Mira handed him a small crystal, its surface glowing faintly. "Take this," she said quietly. "A reminder of tonight. You proved yourself not by strength but by wisdom and heart." Ethan accepted it, feeling its warmth in his hand. "Thank you. I will remember this forever." That night, as Zephora celebrated, Ethan reflected on everything that had happened. The battle had been intense, testing not only his intellect and courage but also his ability to inspire and work alongside alien allies. He had discovered something essential. Humans were capable of facing challenges far beyond their own world, using adaptability, ingenuity, and moral courage to overcome obstacles. Liara and Mira stayed near him as the festivities continued. "Tomorrow," Liara said softly, "you will face new challenges, as will we. But tonight we celebrate. You are a symbol of hope for all of Zephora." Mira added, "Humans are unpredictable. That is what makes them remarkable. Today you have proven that." Ethan looked at the twin moons rising over the forests and Crystal City. The path ahead was uncertain, full of new trials, political challenges, and perhaps even more enemies. Yet he felt ready. Humans could adapt, humans could survive, and humans could inspire hope in worlds far beyond their own. As he gazed at the glowing forests and bustling city below, he whispered quietly to himself, "This is only the beginning. Humans can face anything, even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy." And with that thought, Ethan allowed himself a small smile, knowing that courage, intelligence, and unity were not just tools of survival. They were the essence of humanity, shining brighter than any crystal in the Zephorian night. The battle had ended, but the echoes of triumph and relief still resonated across Zephora. Citizens cheered in the streets, celebrating the victory over the Vorath fleet. Crystal towers sparkled under the twin suns, reflecting light across the glowing forests. Yet for Ethan, Liara, and Mira, the day was only beginning. The palace council summoned them to discuss the future. The elders, impressed by Ethan's contributions, praised the princess's leadership while emphasizing the importance of maintaining Zephora's customs. Liara spoke first. "We have defended our planet and honored our people, but we must also consider our visitor's place in our world. Ethan has shown courage, intelligence, and heart. We cannot ignore his role in our history." Mira, usually sharp and competitive, nodded in agreement. "He has earned respect not just from us but from all Zephora. Yet tradition is tradition. We must find a way to honor it without causing harm or confusion." Ethan listened carefully, feeling the weight of the moment. He had navigated trials, battled enemies, and adapted to alien customs, yet now a more delicate challenge awaited. The balance between respect for Zephora and his own values. Liara continued, "In Zephora, the bond ritual is sacred, but we recognize that humans have different ways of understanding relationships. Perhaps we can reinterpret the tradition without breaking it." Mira's eyes softened, her competitive streak replaced by thoughtfulness. "We value your perspective, Ethan. You have proven yourself not through compliance but through action. Perhaps the bond does not need to be exactly as it was before. Ethan took a deep breath. I respect your culture and your traditions. I want to honor Xiphoria, but I also need to remain true to myself. I believe there is a way for all of us to move forward, together without conflict. Liara smiled, her blue skin shimmering in the soft light. Then let us find a solution that respects both worlds. The council deliberated, considering ways to honor the bond ritual while respecting Ethan's humanity. After hours of discussion, a compromise was reached. Ethan would be recognized as an honorary member of the royal family, symbolizing unity and cooperation. He would share a special bond with both princesses, not a marriage in the human sense, but a partnership that strengthened alliances and represented trust between their worlds. Mira approached Ethan with a small, glowing crystal in hand. This is for you, she said quietly, a reminder that today you are part of Xiphoria. You have earned it through courage and wisdom, not just by following rules. Ethan accepted it, feeling warmth and gratitude. Thank you, Mira. I will treasure this always. Liara joined them, placing a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder. Your actions have shown us what humans can do: adapt, inspire, and lead. You have not only survived in our world, you have made it better. The three of them stood together, looking out at the glowing forests and the city that had been saved through teamwork, ingenuity, and trust. For Ethan, this moment represented not just survival, but the promise of a future where humans and Xiphorians could work together. Over the next days, Ethan helped the princesses strengthen Xiphoria's defenses, train citizens in new strategies, and create systems for interplanetary communication. His knowledge of Earth technology combined with Xiphoria's natural strengths allowed for innovations that had never been seen before on the planet. Liara and Mira observed him closely. Learning from his approach, they began to understand that human methods, flexible, adaptive, and sometimes unorthodox, could complement Xiphoria's traditions without replacing them. Ethan, in turn, learned more about Xiphoria's culture. He respected the careful balance between nature, energy, and society. He understood that leadership required wisdom, patience, and the ability to inspire others, not just to give orders, but to unite them toward a common goal. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the horizon, the three of them walked through the glowing forest. The plants swayed gently, casting soft, moving shadows across the path. Do you ever think about Earth? Mira asked, her voice quiet. Do you miss it? Ethan nodded. Sometimes. But I also realize that humans can adapt. We find our place wherever we go, and we make a difference in unexpected ways. Liara smiled softly. And you have done exactly that here. Xiphoria is stronger because of your presence, and so are we. Mira glanced at Ethan, her green eyes reflecting the moonlight. I admit, I was wrong about humans. We often underestimate what you can do. Today you showed bravery, intelligence, and heart. That is worth more than any tradition alone. Ethan felt a surge of pride but also humility. I am honored to be part of your world. I came to learn, but I have learned just as much from you. Together, we've done something remarkable. As they continued walking, Ethan noticed the citizens working peacefully, sharing knowledge, and celebrating the bond between their leaders. He realized that the victory over Vorath and the successful navigation of Xiphoria's traditions had created a foundation for a lasting alliance, not only between humans and Xiphorians, but also among the people themselves. Back at the palace, the elders formally recognized Ethan's role. A ceremony was held not as a marriage, but as a celebration of partnership, courage, and unity. Ethan was given a ceremonial robe infused with glowing crystals, a symbol of his honorary status and the trust placed in him by the princesses and the people of Xiphoria. Liara spoke to the gathered crowd. Today we honor a human who has shown us the strength of courage, intelligence, and heart. Let this partnership be a symbol of hope and cooperation, reminding us that together we are stronger than any challenge we face. Mira added, We have learned that trust and understanding can bridge worlds. Humans may be new to our galaxy, but they bring ideas and courage that inspire us all. Let this day be remembered for generations. Ethan stood beside them, feeling a sense of belonging he had never expected. He had faced alien trials, defended an entire planet, and navigated traditions that were completely foreign to him. Yet through respect, ingenuity, and courage, he had not only survived, He had helped Xiphoria thrive. The princesses led him through the palace balcony, overlooking the glowing forests and crystal towers. The twin moons reflected in the rivers and ponds, casting soft light across the landscape. "You have changed everything," Liara said softly. "Not just for us, but for the future of Xiphoria." Mira nodded. "And you have shown us that humans are more than just visitors. You are partners, allies, and friends. Your presence here matters." Ethan looked out at the horizon, feeling hope and determination.
I will continue to learn, help, and stand with you.
Humans can adapt, survive, and inspire, but we also grow stronger through partnerships like this. The three of them stood together, a human and two Xiphorian princesses united not by tradition alone, but by trust, courage, and mutual respect. It was a bond that symbolized the best of both worlds. As the celebrations continued below, Ethan knew the adventure was far from over. New challenges, discoveries, and journeys awaited him, but he was ready. Humans had proven their worth not just through strength, but through intelligence, adaptability, and heart. And in Xiphoria, that proof would shine brightly for generations to come. With the twin moons rising high, casting gentle silver light over the forests and city, Ethan whispered quietly to himself, "Humans can make a difference. Humans can inspire, and humans can find their place even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy." And with that, the story of courage, ingenuity, and interstellar friendship reached a hopeful pause, one where humans and Xiphorians could face the future together, stronger and wiser for it.